All the top pilots in the world are here. There's no one else.
I've dreamed of an opportunity like this.
I'm very passionate about racing.
There's bound to be tensions that rise. We don't back down.
I just have big aspirations to be the fastest in the world.
Put the goggles on, you're inside of the Matrix, and you could do what you can imagine.
This is DR1 Racing, presenting the DHL Champions Series, fueled by Mountain Dew, the elite drone racing championship that invites the world's greatest teams to do battle in the skies surrounding epic European locations. Whether it's scaling mountaintops, skimming lakes, or traversing castles, our pilot skills will be tested like never before as they compete for seasonal points on 5 bespoke outdoor tracks. Waiting for them at race 6 is our series final, staged around the 500-foot-tall post tower in Bonn, Germany, where one team will win $50,000 and walk away as the 2018 champions.
I've dreamed of an opportunity like this.
There's no other type of racing that gives you that adrenaline rush.
All that adrenaline, it goes nowhere except in your controller, so it's very, very intense.
We have the best locations ever.
It's one big adventure.
All the top pilots in the world are here. There's no one else. It doesn't get any better than this.
So, this is race 1, and what a place to start. We've descended on Western France, and just take a look at this. This is the majestic, medieval Château de la Mothe Chandeniers, and in its 800-year history, it'll never have witnessed anything like this, because this is drone racing at its awe-inspiring best. No one can predict the drama that lies ahead, especially because 2 reigning champions have returned. But this time, Sean Taylor and Min Chan Kim will face each other on different teams. And prepare for a second twist, because along with racing the mini quad drones, our pilots will also be given the opportunity to fly these. At nearly 1 meter wide and weighing 10 pounds, this is the Pro Class, the future of drone racing. So, there's a teaser of what's to come, and on hand to tell us what to expect from the DR1 Champions Series format is drone racing veteran Aaron Leslie. So first of all, what a location at this gorgeous castle. Is this what DR1 does, these epic outdoor places?
It's beautiful. It's the most amazing thing I've seen as far as pro drone racing goes.
So behind us, we have a DR1 racing triangle. Talk me through this.
You've got to go through them, and they're pretty challenging. If you miss one, you've got to turn around and you've got to go back through. Otherwise, you're disqualified. 0 points.
What's the format for them to race in?
It's really simple. So there's 5 teams of 3. 2 pilots from 2 teams will race against each other. So there's 4 drones in the air at the same time. You have 1 pilot pitting as well. So they have to come in, pick up the drone, change the battery, check the props. They're spotting, making sure that everything's fine on the track, and also paying attention to the other teams as well.
How can the pilots earn points and get to the final?
Put simply, for first place, you're going to get 10 points. Second, 8. Third, 6. Fourth, 3. And if you crash or if you don't finish, you get 0. Each team will race each other once, and the 2 teams who accumulate the most amount of points will qualify for race 1's final.
So that's what lies ahead. And before Heat 1 gets underway, Bryce Presswich from Team Rebel was the privileged pilot who got to fly his mini quad racing drone out on the course for the very first time.
Hey guys, Bryce here with Team Rebel. We just got to France. We're looking at this amazing track and this awesome location. I'm gonna give you our first flying lap. All right, we're up in the air. We're shooting out through the first gate, straight out across the water with a long punch out across the back tier. We're gonna swing around the left one, off to the right side of that tier, dropping down to the TBS gate, across the bridge, and right back out across the water. We're going to sight down where we're going to turn back in for these double gates in the trees, through the double gates with a hard right back out across the water. We're gonna go around the bush, through the third DR1 gate, coming around the pine tree, swinging it wide. We're gonna have a hard 90 into our last triangle gate and shoot straight for the finish gate. All right, we've had our first flying lap around the track, and I have to say, my favorite part is gonna be right off the starting block, out straight across the water and towards the castle. Having that whole track ahead of you is gonna be an awesome feeling. If I had to pick one spot that's gonna be difficult for pilots, I'm probably gonna say the TBS gate, because you're dropping a lot of elevation, trying to duck into that gate and shoot out across that bridge. Another difficult spot is going to be coming in back across the water and ducking into the foliage for that double gate. It's going to be pretty crucial to find a clean line through there, and I think we're going to see a lot of pilots struggle and go into the foliage. I guess all we have left to do now is just race the track.
Well, that's what a fairly slow, calculated flight around the track looks like, but I think it's time to add 3 more drones at speeds of well over 100 kilometers an hour, because it's time to meet the 2 teams squaring off in Heat 1.
We all mess around, we all have fun. What's the point of being here if we're not going to have fun? When we need to be professional, when we need to get stuff done, we do it.
We don't back down. We don't give up.
I can't see anybody beating us by a long shot.
We first came together as NexxBlades in Dubai, where all of us were scouted out by the team. We all joined together there, huge team, and we managed to win it, and that's where it all started.
We put in countless hours building our drones. We know exactly what we're flying, so as a team, I think we're going to do really well. Everything else, we'll just figure it out as we go.
What do I bring to the team? I bring a lot of good banter. I'm team captain, I do have to pull ranks sometimes.
Dubai was 2 years ago.
No, 3 years ago.
No, 2 years ago.
3 years ago.
2 years. 2 years, 2.5. Luke is a very unique personality. He's a legend. All the things he achieved in such a young age, like his input is super important. On the strategy side, of course, on the flying side, I don't think that team would exist without him.
We're a team who's going to give a lot of close races, and I think we're going to see a lot of that. We're a consistent team. We know how to put in the right strategies.
It's all about getting the points, accumulating the points.
Yeah, keep it consistent, keep it smooth. I'm pretty likely to crash, not gonna lie, because concentration span's a little bit low.
Drone racing is about finishing, and it's about the entire series, not just about this one race.
But I think we're a very respectful team in a way. We're trying to be gentlemen, let's say.
Yeah.
At least when we race.
Gentlemen of drone racing, boys.
We definitely want to beat NexxBlades.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
The waiting's over, and it's time for Heat 1. To guide us through the action from the commentary box, a man who's no stranger to fast-paced sports, Formula E, Formula 1 and esports commentator, Jack Nichols.
Thank you, Imi. Here's a look at the 4 pilots that are going to be competing. Mac Poshold and Luke Bannister for the NexxBlades, Corey Ibanez and Nicholas Jung for Archangel. This 4-lap race is underway. Through the first gate to start, and it's Mac Poshold who has got a good getaway. Luke Bannister down in 4th place in the end as we go on board with Ibanez. Bannister, though, immediately up into 2nd place, so a 1-2 for NexxBlades as it stands. Through the double gates, out of the back, and there goes Luke into the lead. No, Mac manages to hold on. Very quick start as we go on board with Nicholas Jung to complete lap 1. Luke Bannister deciding to pit then at the end of the first lap. Ibanez, is he pitting or is he out of control? It's not looking good there for Corey Ibanez. Oh, not good for Poshold either. He's down, he's out. Both he and Ibanez out of the race. So it's just Nicholas Jung and Luke Bannister that are left in this race. Bannister's finished his pit stop. 15 seconds that took him. A mandatory pit stop in each race for each one of these drones. So now Nicholas Jung is leading, but he needs to build the gap over this man, Luke Bannister, a legend of the sport at just 18 years of age. And when is Jung going to pit? Well, it has to be at the end of this lap. Has to be at the end of lap 3 of the 4-lap race. Up high, around the tree. And then the pit stops are just here. You'll see him land it on the mat. And then they get to work, changing the back tree, checking the props. And now Luke Bannister has to try and close in. Can he get past before Jung is back up and running? There comes Bannister, past the pits now and back into the lead, going on to the final lap as Jung gets going a couple of seconds behind. Bannister pushing hard. He's got a reasonable margin over Jung, but Jung is starting to push. Oh, but he's into the gate. Jung makes the mistake, goes down. He's going to be able to carry on, but that surely means Luke Bannister is going to hold on and take victory in the first heat. Bannister over the line for the NexxBlades to take the win. Jung across the line in 2nd place, just 2.1 seconds behind at the end.
So, Heat 1 is done, and one of the biggest names in the sport, Luke Bannister, has set down the gauntlet. Coming up after the break, reigning DR1 champion Sean Taylor and his FlightONE team take to the skies. Make sure you don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the drone racing tournament that's pushing the boundaries of the sport. This is the DHL Champions Series. We've just witnessed 2 epic finishes and 2 spectacular crashes, and it's now time to meet the next 2 teams facing up to this one-of-a-kind course.
We're an unstoppable team, and I think over the series we're going to see FlightONE just get continually better.
We're the only team that has all 3 pilots coming from the USA. We're basically Team USA.
I've known Thomas now for 3.5 years. I met Thomas in Australia, actually. He's basically won just about every single race that he's been in over the last 2.5, 3 years. And he's very, just absolutely no wasted speed anywhere. I met this gentleman right here. Actually, I saw him for the first time at a race called International Open last year. And I kind of came out of nowhere, putting down some crazy lap times, and then he ended up winning the 2017 Multi-GP Championship, which I had won the previous 2 years. I'm old and busted. This is new hotness.
Bryce and I have known each other for 2 years now. We live in the same city. We haven't really met James until about 1 local race ago. We went to a regional final. I've been watching his videos for like 1.5 years now. He's just crazy fast all the time, so we knew he was an awesome choice.
Having Cooper and Bryce hunt me down and pick me out was a real honor. I've done the work that I need to get here, and now it's just a matter of me having fun and doing what I do.
What is it that you do?
I like to fly fast.
I've had a lot of experience with racing, but nothing like this. I've only done team racing once. That whole concept is new to me.
I actually come from an aviation background. I think I'm probably the only one in this entire series who actually has their pilot's license. I started in real airplanes before doing anything RC related or drone related. You know, right now this is my passion. This is what gives me an adrenaline rush. But at the same time, going up in an airplane, flying aerobatics, doing tricks and all that sort of thing, man, that's just a feeling that's just really hard to beat. As much as I love my buddy, Sean, he's a very fast guy, but you know he does have a little bit of a temperament sometimes, and I think that definitely needs to be in check. And with Thomas, I mean, Thomas is just a machine, but it's really important to keep Thomas in his game and keep him focused. When both of those guys are focused, we're an unstoppable team.
So there are 2 teams itching to get started. Let's not waste any more time. It's straight back over to our race commentator, Jack Nichols, for Heat 2.
The 4 pilots in this one, Thomas Bitmatter and Alex Vanova from FlightONE. For Rebel, it's James McGee and Bryce Presswich. Sean Taylor opting not to run in this first race for FlightONE. The 4-lap race is underway. Through the first gate and up around the castle, James McGee getting a very good getaway there. But Alex Vanova immediately through into the lead. So Vanova leads, McGee second, Bitmatter third, Presswich down in 4th position. Through the double gate as we go on board with Alex Vanova. Up high and then dropping down through the final gate and heading towards the end of the first lap. Vanova leading the way. 3 seconds ahead of McGee. 4 seconds ahead of Bitmatter. In these early stages, Vanova so smooth as he drops down through that double gate out the back. Now we're with James McGee. Neatly done. And he is going to pit then. So the first pit made by James McGee from 2nd position. So he'll drop back down the order. Bitmatter pits as well then. Australia's #1 pilot coming in for his one and only pit stop. On board with Bryce Presswich now. Out the back over the castle. And in a bit of trouble and in the trees. Prestwich is down. Vanova's in the pits from the lead. James McGee gets going again. It's a FlightONE 1-2 as it stands. James McGee running in 3rd, losing out in the pit stop phase, and he's losing out there because he's missed the gate. So he'll have to go around, take that again, as Alex Vanova now starts the final lap. A really dominating performance from Vanova. Bryce Presswich still trying to get going for the Rebels, but it's not working out for him or Rebels this afternoon. It's all on James McGee to try and close in. He has crashed, and surely now that's a 1-2 for FlightONE. Vanova takes the win, Bitmatter second.
Miraculously, even though Bryce crashed twice and James crashed once, both pilots were able to finish the race. It's all about accumulating points, and we'll wait to find out whether the 9 points they rescued will prove pivotal.
Okay, have you guys
With Alex and Thomas making a perfect start, this is how the leaderboard stands. After 2 heats, FlightONE are on top with 18 points, NexxBlades are in 2nd, Rebel in 3rd, and Archangel in 4th.
So with 2 heats down, I'm guessing that a lot of you, like me, have never flown a drone before. So I want to know, what does it actually feel like for these pilots to step up, put on the goggles, and fly at breakneck speed?
So when you're flying a drone, I can honestly say there's no feeling like it.
It feels like bird. You can see all the work.
Everything around your physical body kind of melts away and you just become the drone, basically.
Inside the goggles are 2 small screens, which makes it feel like you're sitting inside like a huge cinema screen, and it's as if you're inside the drone. So like the control you have, the spatial awareness you have is incredible once you're in there.
The movements on the controller, you're not thinking about those at all. It's a very out-of-body experience for sure.
You become so connected and so overwhelmed with everything that's going on, you just become one with the machine.
The world just drops out from underneath you.
That's what this is. You put the goggles on, you're not you anymore. You're literally inside of the Matrix, and you could only do what you can imagine.
So hopefully later I'll be able to try it out for myself, but for the pros, that's what it feels like to fly a drone. And with 4 teams already having tackled the course for the first time, we've now got just 1 more team to meet.
Corey and I started drone racing together. Started about 2 years ago, and since then we've traveled to many events, and we even started our own drone racing store just to support our own habits and to meet the whole community. Well, Min-Chan, he's the reigning champ, so everyone's looking at him. They want to throw him off his game, but Min-Chan, he doesn't get thrown off. He's very consistent, very calm, and that's a huge thing in drone racing. If you get anxious and you get nervous, it throws you off and you don't race how you like.
Time for Heat 3, and for the NexxBlades, it's Luke Bannister and Young Rock's Son up against Uvify, Min-Chan Kim and Travis Ames in this next 4-lap heat. Away they go. Through the first gate, who's going to get the best getaway? It's Min-Chan Kim, who moves out in front. We're on board with him now. Young Rock's Son running in 2nd place. Another little bit of a slow start for Luke Bannister, who has to come up from the back. And Travis Ames is out. Travis Ames out for Uvify very early on. Oh, just clipped the right-hand side of that gate. On to lap 2. And Luke Bannister decides to pit. Meanwhile, Min-Chan still out in the lead of the race. Fairly comfortably at the moment, but he hasn't made his pit stop yet.
Go, go, go.
Luke Bannister gets going. Eventually, from the pits, you hear the drone fire up, and away he goes, just as Min-Chan Kim comes in to make his one and only stop. Young Rock's Son now. The NexxBlades pilot makes his pit stop too at the end of lap 2. So here comes Luke Bannister. Is he going to emerge in front or behind Min-Chan Kim? It's going to be pretty close. Up around the tree, the pits are over there on the left-hand side. Min-Chan Kim gets going and starts the penultimate lap of the race in the lead. Or is he? Because Luke Bannister's there or thereabouts. Look at them, they're absolutely neck and neck. The green drone of Min-Chan Kim, the blue drone of Luke Bannister, who we're on board with now. You can just see Kim up in front. Starting the final lap of the race. This is going to be a close one, not for Young Rock's Son though. He's out. There goes Kim. There goes Bannister. Half a lap to go. Bannister pushing too hard, and it's over. Min-Chan Kim surely now is going to take the win. 2 more gates to go, and there's the victory. Here's what happened to Young Rock's Son, just clipping the right-hand side of that gate. And here's a look at the results of Heat 3. Only Min-Chan Kim finishing, Bannister, Son and Ames all out of the race. That 10 points put Uvify into 2nd place, but it's still FlightONE who are at the top after 3 heats. Let's go down to Imi, who's with racing expert Aaron Leslie.
Aaron, we had a really fierce battle between two of the top pilots, Minshan and Luke. What happened to Luke? He had won that first heat.
He did. It was such a great race and it was really close. They had some good chase footage. I noticed Luke went down in the forest and most of these quads, they can flip back over. His issue is that he flies so fast that his camera angle is tilted up almost towards the sky. So when he's looking in the forest, all he can see is the treetops. He got lost. He couldn't get out.
Yeah, but we know he can do it because he won the first heat. When he went to race again, he just got lost. And that can happen to these guys, can't it?
Exactly. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot more from him. He's going to definitely learn from this.
So after all the teams have got that nervous first race out of the way, and with hardly anything separating 5 teams, everything is still to race for. Coming up after the break, our 15 pilots continue their aerial onslaught of our 13th century French chateau, and for the first time ever, 2 pilots will get the opportunity to race the pro-class drone. See you soon. Welcome back to the DR1 Champions Series, where after 3 heats, just 10 points separate top and bottom. With a maximum 18 points up for grabs in every race, anything can and will still happen. But before Heat 4 gets underway, it's time to meet a legend in the drone racing world, a member of the 2017 DR1 Champions Series winning team, and a man who's got everybody talking.
So one of the pilots I'd love to get one over on is Sean Taylor. He was like the original racer that was a world champion. I've looked up to him for a long time, so if I can come out with a win against him, I'm gonna feel pretty good.
One of the pilots I think I was watching at the beginning of my drone career was Sean Taylor.
Sean Taylor has been in the game forever. He's an amazing pilot, and on a good day, he can beat anybody here. He's his own worst enemy. He gets in his own head. If he starts to crash and get kind of down and think he's letting down his team, it can hurt him a lot, and that's probably his biggest weakness.
I actually got into drone racing while I was in the fire department. I was a firefighter back home for almost 5 years. Firefighter is something I wanted to do since I was a little kid, and when I finally got in the fire department, it was just a dream come true. Oh, people talking about me being their idol, that makes me feel awesome, of course. I'm very humbled by it. I think that's amazing that I could, share my experiences, in drone racing, and I could share my mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes. I have a lot of contrast. I've seen the highest highs, and I've hit the lowest lows. So I have something to pass on. I embrace failure. I embrace loss because that's the only way you get better. When I look at somebody, like I look at my buddy Alex Vanover, extremely fast. He beats me almost every time, but I'm getting closer and closer and closer to him. And that's what drives me because I'm right there and he knows it.
Well, in Heat 4, Sean raced his old championship-winning teammate Minshan for the first time. However, things didn't go well for Taylor. He bided his time, but misjudged the exit of the Black Sheep Gate. Minshan went on to make it 2 wins out of 2, with Thomas Bittmarter finishing in 2nd. In Heat 5, the 2 bottom teams, Rebel and Archangel, went head-to-head. James and Cooper both took early leads for Rebel, and much to his frustration, Nicholas crashed out. However, Cooper couldn't hold on to 2nd as he crashed into Gate 5. A solid race from Adam saw him win 8 points, but all the plaudits go to James McGee, whose win moved Rebel to the top of the leaderboard. In Heat 6, FlightONE were up again, with Sean Taylor hoping to make amends for his Heat 4 crash, but again it wasn't to be, as he took an approach too low and crashed out for the 2nd time. His teammate Alex Vanover claimed his 2nd win, with Corey Ibanez close behind him. So here are the current standings after 6 heats. FlightONE are on top, with Archangel, Uvify, and Rebel all fighting it out for that all-important top 2 finish.
Well, for many of you, this might be the first time that you've ever seen drone racing or even an actual drone. So I've managed to grab Corey Ibanez from Archangel to talk us through this. So we've got 2 remote controls, which I recognize, and 2 drones.
So what we've got here is what's kind of a standard 5-inch drone, we like to call it. In the future, we plan to scale it up quite a bit. We feel that this is kind of the future of what drone racing should be. These are a lot easier to track, they're a lot louder, great spectacle, and it's a lot more fun for the viewers.
Okay, but this is the one that you're working with now.
Yes, this is what we're planning to do.
And what have you done here? So we've got a quadcopter, because it's a set of 4.
4 seems to be the sweet spot. If you only have 3, you run into issues of you can't control all axes, right? We have to be able to roll and pitch in every direction. If you add more, you're kind of just adding arguably unnecessary weight with more motors.
And what's your top speed been here?
These will go easily 120, 130. And they get to that speed surprisingly quick. These will go 0 to 100 in less than a second. These are the goggles. The camera is fixed. So when you're hovering flat, in the goggles, all you see is sky. Because to have your vision be forward, when you're flying forward, it needs to be tilted. So that's why the camera and the GoPro are both tilted forward.
Corey, this is so cool. I really want to get going. Now I understand more about it.
Yep.
How can I start?
Well,
With this big one?
If you want, we can start there, but I would recommend starting a little bit smaller. So if you'll remove the top there, you can pitch back a little bit. So it'll be down, and it'll bring it towards us. So down, perfect.
Whoa.
And a little more throttle.
Oh yeah, the throttle.
Pitch forward. Perfect. So we're gonna
You're
pitch
definitely
back.
doing it now.
No, this is all you.
Yeah.
I think we're
That's
losing
not
battery
me
there.
going in
That
the
was
tree.
actually my fault. That was
Whoa,
completely me.
that's not
Okay.
me in the
So we gotta.
tree.
It may
You know,
be
at
gone.
some point you just have to G.I. Jane your way
pink.
through this
It
and
is
find
pink.
it, you know?
We may have lost it.
We? I'm angry with you.
I can tell.
Not bad for a beginner, and now it's my aim to fly a mini quad through a gate and not crash it by the time we reach the final in 5 races time. Next up in Heat 7 is bottom of the table NexxBlades against second from bottom Rebel, a team who are unnerved by the amount of water on this epic outdoor course.
The one thing that's worrying the most is probably the giant moat around the castle, because any miscontrol there, hitting into the wall, falling into the water, and your quad is done.
Probably the only chance we'd have to get a quad out of there is tie a big magnet to a string, throw it in after it, see if we can hook it.
Going into Heat 7, the pressure was on for the team stranded at the bottom of the table, NexxBlades. It was time for Mac and Younggrok to deliver. And deliver they did, romping home in style with a first and second placed finish. Cooper kept Rebel's dream of a spot in the final alive, coming home third, with Bryce having to recover his drone from the water. In Heat 8, the teams in second and third squared off. Archangel's Nicholas crashed out again, but he wasn't the only one. Travis also crashed out for the second time this race. Heat 8 was the battle of the Corys, with Archangel's Corey Ibanez coming home for the win, ahead of Uvify's Corey Casaba. These results mean that it's surely all over for Archangel as they've completed all of their heats, and with just 2 heats left, any one of 4 teams can finish in the top 2 because just 11 points separate the summit from the bottom. The points are starting to count, the pressure is on, and NexxBlades aren't doing as well as we had anticipated. What's going on, Aaron?
I think that a lot of it has to do with consistency in their laps, making sure that they just finish. If they're not in the lead, I think they're trying to push too hard.
Well, they have got Luke Bannister, who is reputed to be one of the best drone pilots in the world. How's his performance going?
He's not performing at the speeds and the level that we're seeing a couple of the other pilots conforming. Min Chan and Alex Vanhover are the ones to watch right now. And I think that Luke, going into this, is going to be trying to push himself a little bit too hard, and we may see some crashes.
In the penultimate Heat 9, the inconsistent Luke Bannister had to shine after recording 1 win and 1 crash. But his fortunes didn't get much better. Way back in last place, he crashed out on one of the easiest parts of the course. FlightONE's Alex Vanover made it a clean sweep, winning his 3rd race. And with his teammate Thomas Bitmarta finishing in 3rd, FlightONE guaranteed their place in the final.
So it all comes down to this. The 10th and final heat. James McGee and Bryce Presswich for Rebel up against Min Chan Kim and Corey Casaba for Uvify. Uvify need to outscore Rebel to join FlightONE in the final. Away we go for the final heat. On board with Bryce Presswich as he comes through the first gate to start lap 1, but it's Min Chan Kim who immediately disappears out in front. James McGee in 2nd, Corey Casaba in 3rd. On board with Presswich. Running in 4th place at the moment. You can just see Corey Casaba up in front. 3rd place at the moment for the Uvify pilot. And as it stands, they would be going through, but he's into the gate. So that puts all the pressure now on Min Chan Kim, because he is leading the way, but his teammate is out. So James McGee and Bryce Presswich look to be taking Rebel through to the final. Here we are with Min Chan Kim. He's won all of his heats so far, and now he's into the pits at the end of lap 2. On board with James McGee now. Is he going to pit this time around, or is he going to move into the lead of the race? He moves into the lead. Starts lap 3 of 4. Min Chan Kim out of the pits now, and he gets on his way, whilst Bryce Presswich in the other Rebel drone, he pits now. And Corey Kusaba has managed to get going again, but he looks like he's in all sorts of trouble. On board with Min Chan Kim, trying to get his gate. A little bit of an uncharacteristic delay there for Kim. Is that going to cost him? He's still out in front. Coming towards the end of the penultimate lap. Now we're with James McGee. Through the gate, over the lake, then a hard right, over the wall, and in trouble. James McGee could be out, and that might hand Uvify the place in the final. McGee struggling on the floor, and that means Min Chan Kim is going to come through, surely to take the victory. McGee's got going again, though. Min Chan wins it for Uvify, but where are the Rebel pilots going to be?
Unbelievably, James finished Heat 10, even though he was 1 minute and 17 seconds behind Min Chan Kim. His persistence, never give up attitude, and third place finish has rightfully earned Team Rebel their spot in the Race 1 final. During this series, our pilots are racing mini-quads, but the future of drone racing is getting bigger, much bigger. This is the Pro Class. It weighs 10 pounds, is nearly 1 meter in diameter, it flies well over 100 kilometers an hour. It's not for sale. It's just for us, and for the first time, our pilots will get a chance to race it here in France.
I can now reveal which team gets to be the first to compete in the Pro Class race. But there are 3 of you in a team, and there are only 2 drones. So 2 of you are lucky enough to race, and 1 of you has to sit this out. I can now reveal that the team is Archangel. Come to the front, boys.
In a very diplomatic way, it was a game of rock, paper, scissors that decided it was to be Corey versus Adam in this inaugural Pro Class duel.
Congratulations. Okay, what's your first approach then?
I have some important things about them that I might not share. I mean, he is my teammate, but I'm competing against him, so.
Come on, man, we're cool.
A time trial race ensued, with Corey Ibanez opting to go first. After a shaky start, getting used to the drone's new weight and power, he picked up immense speed, navigating a drone that's 4 times bigger than the mini-quad through the same gates. After 2 laps, Corey came home in 50 seconds. Next up was Adam, who got off to a much quicker start, but he lost time over the back section of the course. Considering this is the first time he's ever flown a drone this big, he looked like he'd take the win, but he finished just 3 seconds behind Corey.
And I can announce, Corey, you have won by 3 seconds and you're holding this like a trophy. So yes, congratulations, because you're teammates and it can be a little bit tricky, but you seem to have been very supportive with each other.
Neither of us wanted the other to crash. It's kind of that tough situation of who do you root for, yourself or your friend? Once you get this in the air, there's nothing you want to do more than just push the throttle up and fly as fast as you can.
It looked absolutely insane, and I know, Adam, you're a little bit nervous about flying this. How did you find it?
Absolutely. I mean, this was an amazing experience. I'm still shaking. It was so exciting. You know, the sense of consequence, flying something this loud and this big is just like something I've never experienced before.
Huge congratulations to Corey, who will be representing Archangel in the Pro Class final in 4 races' time. At every race this series, 2 members from each team will compete against each other, racing the Pro Class drone. And on the penultimate track in Croatia, against the backdrop of the monumental Tulov beams, 5 Pro Classes will race in the sky together. But here in France, it's final time. It's FlightONE against Rebel, and it's happening straight after the break.
Since the dawn of man, we've looked to the sky, yearning to soar like the birds, gods, winged beasts, and the angels. Then in 1903, man achieved the power of flight, followed by a line of daring pilots that set out to conquer the skies. And now, you. Introducing the Archangel, a world-class ready-to-fly racing drone powered by refined FPV components and balanced for all skill levels. From its beginner angle mode to expert acro mode, a true warrior in the skies. The Archangel's sleek design with advanced chip onboard LED lighting leaves no question about its location on the track, giving you the opportunity to crush the competition and take you to victory. Archangel, take flight.
Welcome back to the DR1 Champions Series, the elite drone racing championship in which we're only moments away from the final of Race 1, the 2018 season opener, here at this spellbinding medieval chateau. It's favourites FlightONE against underdogs Team Rebel. It's the same point structure as the heats, and at the end of the third and final race, the winning team will secure maximum seasonal points heading into Race 2 in Slovenia. As the teams prepare for their first battle, it's time for one final word from underdogs Team Rebel.
So we know going in, these pilots on this track are faster than us on average, so we know that we need to go for the points game rather than speed, which is finishing second and third consecutively, just getting those points on the board, hope they crash out, or we can try and take advantage of when they do slow up, and that's all our strategy is just kind of keeping steady and getting the points rather than trying to beat everybody.
Making sure you are consistent. That's the key word of the day.
Consistency.
All right, consistent Cooper and Team Rebel. Good luck.
So the first final will see James McGee and consistent Cooper Groves up against Thomas Bitmatter and Sean Taylor of FlightONE. 4 laps again in the first final, and we're underway. On board with Sean Taylor, as all 4 of them are absolutely together coming over the castle for the first time. James McGee's got the best start and Bitmatter's out on the opening lap. Disappointment there for FlightONE, and that could cost them serious points. James McGee just brushing the undergrowth as he swings through that right-hander. Cooper Groves in the other Rebel, running in 3rd place at the moment. We're with James McGee. Sean Taylor 4 seconds behind him on the 2nd lap. Through the double gates out the back. When is McGee going to make his mandatory pit stop as well? Up high, around the tree, dropping back down. Hanger left towards the pits, and into the pits comes McGee then. Sean Taylor chasing him down. Running about 7 seconds behind as he now comes into the pits. And that means Cooper Groves for the Rebel team is out in front for the moment. Unchallenged. So that gives him some clear skies to try and pick up the pace. There goes Sean out of the pits, and he's out in front of McGee. So a much quicker pit stop for FlightONE. So Sean Taylor now effectively in the lead of the race, but still Cooper Groves is out there. He'll have to pit this time around. But Taylor and McGee are going to have quite the squabble come the closing laps. In now to the pits comes Cooper Groves. And here is Sean Taylor as he comes through the left-hander now, and McGee's up in front of him. So McGee crosses the line, 1.5 seconds ahead of Sean Taylor. The final lap begins now. You can see how close they are as they come underneath that gate and up the castle. Cooper Groves is still out of the pits now, and they brush the floor, and McGee's off. McGee's in the trees. There you can see him. They were so close together, he and Sean Taylor. And now that means Sean Taylor is going to take the victory. There's the finish line, and there's the win for Taylor. Cooper Groves is going to come home in 2nd place then after all of that. So FlightONE will take the win, Rebel in 2nd place, and another crash for James McGee, just as he did in Heat 10.
However, the race didn't end there. Unbelievably, 25 seconds after Sean crossed the finish line, James recovered again and came home in 3rd, winning 6 points for Team Rebel. How crucial could that moment turn out to be?
Sent it! You saved it though.
Racetrack open for a bit.
So after their first battle, Rebel lead favourites FlightONE 14 points to 10.
James, you kind of got stuck in a tree but managed to wriggle yourself out. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I was fighting for the lead, so I was pushing, and I was coming through the trees and snagged a little branch, and next thing I know, I was caught up. But I didn't give up and kept going and got us the points to get ahead of FlightONE.
In the second of 3 final races, and with Rebel 4 points better off than FlightONE, Bryce Prestwich was having the flight of his life. But on the last lap, with the finish line in sight, he unbelievably crashed out. No recovery this time. Sean Taylor claimed first spot, but again his teammate, this time Alex Vanover, crashed out. Cooper came home second, meaning that the table stands like this. Rebel, 22 points. FlightONE, 20. And on hand to bring you this mouth-watering final race here in France is Jack Nicholls.
Thank you, Imi. So it is time for the deciding final. James McGee and Bryce Prestwich out there for Rebel. Alex Vanover and Thomas Bitmatter will be piloting for FlightONE. So the final race in France is underway. On board we go with Bryce Prestwich. Hanging at the back, it's Alex Vanover, who's at the front in the early stages. They flash through the gate, along the moat and through the double gates out the back. We're on board with Vanover. Look how sharp and tight his turns are. Not a wasted movement in there, and he's pitting at the end of lap 1 then. So Vanover into the pits. James McGee inherits the lead of the race for Rebel, with Bryce Prestwich behind him. Prestwich coming through the right-hander. Vanover came out the pits there in 13 seconds. That was very quick stuff from the FlightONE pit crew, which of course is Sean Taylor, as James McGee now comes to complete lap 2 and he decides to pit. Thomas Bitmatter, the Australian, carries on his way. So Prestwich and Bitmatter still out there. McGee and Vanover have made their pit stops. On board with Bitmatter, through the right-hander, and then out towards the 2 double gates out the back. We're on board with Prestwich now. James McGee gets going again. Quite a way behind Alex Vanover. Oh, Prestwich is gone. Prestwich is out for the Rebel team. Bitmatter comes in to make his stop. But with Prestwich out of the race, he is surely not going to get going again. And that means if Rebel want any chance of winning, they need one of the FlightONE pilots to retire. Bitmatter still in the pits now. That's going to give Alex Vanover the lead of the race again. James McGee into second, as Bitmatter now resumes in 3rd place. But all he needs to do is finish, and FlightONE will have the victory in the opening race of the season. McGee's going to try his best. Oh, he's gone a little bit the wrong way, and that allows Bitmatter through into 2nd place. So 1-2 now for FlightONE, and it's the win in France. Bitmatter, if he can just get across the line, is going to seal it.
We're getting it together.
Absolute delight for Alex Vanover, Thomas Bitmatter and Sean Taylor, winners of the first race of the season. Here's a look at the results. That DNF for Bryce Prestwich could have been costly, but James McGee could only manage a 3rd place finish anyway. So a 10-point victory in the end for FlightONE, and Imi is with the winners.
FlightONE, congratulations, winner of race 1. Alex, that lead changed hands so many times. What went on?
Oh gosh, that first lap, it was back to back with me and one of the other Rebel guys. And you know, after my first pit, there were little issues there, so I just went full throttle for the last 3 laps, and that was so much fun. That was an intense race for me.
Thomas, you also just managed to pull through.
Yeah, it was really close the whole way through. Through most parts of the track, it was like, oh, yep, I think I'm clear now. Ramp up your throttle, and you hear another quad right next to you ramping up the same throttle, and you're like, okay, it's not over yet, let's keep going. And then, yeah, managed to hold it all the way through to the end, and yeah, it went really well.
So proud of you guys. I'm so proud of you guys. You guys really, we're coming together. This is just the beginning. We're rough right now, you know. We're gonna clean it up, and I expect some big things out of this team. But right now, we'll enjoy the win for tonight. Tomorrow we reset. It's a new day. It's a clean slate. But guys, I love you. I'm very proud of you.
All right, bring it in, guys. Come on, bring it in.
I'm proud of you guys.
So with race 1 complete, here's how the seasonal points board stands. FlightONE atop with 5 points thanks to that win, and Archangel bottom with just 1. At the end of race 5 in Croatia, the team at the top of the seasonal points table will bypass the quarters and the semis and book their spot straight into the final, placing one hand on the trophy and taking one step closer to the 2018 DR1 Champions Series title and the $50,000 prize.
Well, there we have it, winners of race 1, our flight 1 of the DR1 Champions Series. And join us next in Slovenia.
All 15 pilots will be packing up their kit bags and traveling 1,500 kilometers to the other side of Europe and heading up into the Slovenian Alps. What response will our teams have not just to Flight 1, but to Mother Nature?